Hi everybody, thank you so much for joining me. So today we're going to do a 30-minute flow. Today I really wanted to focus on this idea of grounding. So in spring you see this amazing, all these flowers popping up, and you see the weeds as well, everything's popping up, everything's rising up out of the earth. So today I really wanted to kind of engage in that idea throughout our practice. So really this idea of rooting and rising. So we're going to do a lot of work on the floor, so really thinking about foundation and everything that comes up from that. So really with the poses, really thinking about your foundation, grounding into the floor and then extending all the way up from that. So that is what we're going to focus on today. So because we are spending a little bit more time on the floor, on our knees as well, you might want to grab a blanket just to pop under your knees, especially if you're on a hard floor and you don't have a mat. So that's one thing you might want to grab. Otherwise you might want to get some blocks if you're feeling a little bit tight. So if you don't have any yoga blocks, you can pop books or cushions, whatever, just to get the most out of your practice. So we're going to get started. We're just going to start by lying down on our back today. So we're going to bring the soles of the feet together and then we're just going to lie all the way back. So this is reclined butterfly pose. So if your knees are feeling a little bit tight, you're tight in the hips and your knees are, it's feeling a little bit strained here, what you can do is you can either pop some blocks and blankets underneath these thighs, or you can flatten the feet on the ground. So really I just want to focus on the breath. So if bringing the soles of the feet and lying back isn't comfortable for you and it's causing a little bit of strain, then just come with the feet flat on the mat. So I just want you to close the eyes and taking the hands, resting one on the lower abdomen and one either on the rib cage or on the upper chest. Just closing the eyes. I want you to start breathing deeply here, coming into the room. So with every inhale, I want you to feel the abdomen rise, feeling the body expand up through the torso. And with every exhale, I want you to feel that you're sinking into the earth, so letting everything just relax and sink down into the earth. We're talking about that grounding into the earth, just letting everything relax, let gravity do the work for you. So inhaling through the nose, letting everything expand in the torso, rising up, and then letting it relax down towards the earth. Exhaling, letting the chest fall, the rib cage fall, the lower abdomen fall, letting it all sink in towards the floor. A couple more times just like that. Inhaling, feeling the lower abdomen rise beneath the hand, the rib cage rise, maybe even all the way up into the chest. And then as you exhale, just letting everything sink back down, all the way into the mat. So again, if you're feeling a little bit bunged up and breathing in and out through the nose isn't ideal, then breathing in and out through the mouth is totally fine. I just want you to focus on lengthening the breath and really getting that deep connection to your breath. It's the most important part of doing any yoga practice. So just moving through that motion a couple of times in your own length and pace of breath. Letting go of any tensions throughout your day. And just coming into the present moment. And last one, inhaling all the way up. And exhaling, letting it sink in towards the floor. So we're going to gently open the eyes, coming back into the room. So if you're in reclined butterfly pose, we're going to take the hands on the outer edges of the thighs and just gently helping them back up to centre, so coming into knees pointing towards the ceiling, feet flat on the mat. So from here we're going to extend the left leg all the way down. We're going to hug that right knee in towards the shoulder, just giving it a nice big squeeze in. Every inhale, pulling it in a little bit closer. Every exhale, releasing it down towards the floor, down towards the shoulder. Holding here for a couple of breaths, still trying to connect to that deep breath and feeling your body sinking in towards the floor. And then releasing that foot. We're going to switch sides, so this time bringing the left leg in, sending the right leg all the way down flat on the mat. Hugging in the left knee. Taking the hands around the shin and just hugging it in as tight or as loose as what feels comfortable for you. Remember, this is your practice, so doing whatever feels comfortable for you is most recommended. And also remembering that each side is different, so you might feel a little bit tighter on one side than you do the other. That is totally fine, it's totally normal. And then releasing that down towards the mat, bringing both feet back towards the mat, knees pointing towards the ceiling. We're going to extend the right foot all the way up towards the sky. And we're going to just do little ankle rolls here, so we're rolling the ankles in one direction. So if we're drawing a little circle on the ceiling, we're going to stop, and then we're going to do it in the opposite direction. So as if you're drawing a circle with that big toe there, and then coming back to a gentle stop. So we're going to point the toes up towards the ceiling, and then we're going to flex the heels, so as if you're making little pad prints on the ceiling there. Pointing the toes, flexing the heel. One more time, pointing the toes, flexing the heel, and we're going to release it down. Doing the same on the opposite side, so this time pointing the left foot all the way up towards the sky. And we're just going to do little ankle rolls here, just getting some mobility into the ankles. It's really good, especially as we spend a lot of time with our feet trapped in shoes and quite constrained. We're going to stop, going in the opposite direction, rolling the ankle in the opposite direction, drawing that little circle there on the ceiling, and then coming to a gentle stop. So we're going to point the toes all the way up to the ceiling, flexing the heel, pointing the toes up towards the ceiling, flexing the heel. One more time, pointing the toes all the way up towards the ceiling, flexing the heel, and then releasing that foot down to meet the left. So we're going to cross the right ankle over the left thigh here. So we're going to come into dead pigeon stretch, so making sure that that right foot is nice and flexed, so you're protecting the knee here. You might already be feeling this in the hip, which is totally fine. You can stay here. If you want to take it a little bit further, or if you know what you're doing, just go straight ahead. If you want to follow along, we're going to take the right arm, give me a little wave. We're posting it through that little gap that we've created with the legs, and we're going to interlace it round through the thighs. So interlacing the hands beneath that left thigh there and hugging the knees in towards the chest. So if you're feeling that you can take it a bit further, you can also interlace the hands around the shin there. But if it's feeling a little bit tight, or you're just taking it super easy today, then releasing it down and doing whatever feels comfortable for you, just taking the variation that works best for you. Holding here for another breath. Remember, grounding down through that back and the shoulders. Releasing the left foot down and uncrossing that leg. We're going to do the same on the opposite side, so this time crossing the left ankle over. Remembering to keep that foot nice and flexed, protecting the knee. You can stay here again if you want. If not, we're going to take the left hand this time, give me a little wave, and we're posting it through that little gap created by the left leg. So interlacing the hands either behind that shin or around the thigh there, whichever feels most comfortable for you. So the tighter you hug in, the more you're going to feel it in this outer thigh. And the looser the grip, so if you're loosening it off a little bit, the easier it'll be on the hip. So it's kind of a good way to adjust to the intensity that most suits you. Holding here for another little breath. And then we're going to release the right foot down, uncrossing that left leg, giving everything a little hug in. We're going to come up to tabletop, so you can either roll onto your side and come up to tabletop, onto your hands and knees, or you can take the hands behind the thighs and give yourself a little rock and roll all the way up towards the mat, the top of your mat. So we're taking the hands spread nice and wide underneath the shoulders, knees underneath the hips, just coming into a little bit of gentle cat-cow. So we're going to dip the tummy button down towards the earth, taking the gaze straight ahead, keeping it nice and gentle if you're feeling a little bit tight in the back today. As you exhale, we're going to start at the tail of the back, and we're going to arch the spine coming into like an angry cat. The head should be the last thing to tuck all the way in, so you can straighten the arms here. Inhaling, coming all the way forward, dipping the tummy down. I like to bend the elbows here, keeping it nice and soft. Helps kind of accentuate the fold or the bend. Exhaling, arching the back, coming all the way in, tucking the chin in towards the chest. Straightening through those arms, pushing into the palms of the hands. Inhaling, coming all the way up. So making sure the palms of the hands are spread nice and wide, pushing into each of those little fingertip pads. Exhaling, coming all the way under. One more time, inhaling, softening all the way up, lifting the head last, lifting the gaze. Exhaling, arching the spine. So from here we're going to come to a neutral spine, and then we're going to extend the right leg all the way back behind us. So you want that foot flexed, toes pointing down towards the ground. Balancing here for a little breath, and then we're going to extend the left arm all the way out in front of us. So we're holding here, engaging the core, inhaling, and on your next exhale we're going to bring the elbow towards the knee, crunching it in, rounding the back, bringing left elbow to that right knee, inhaling, extending it all the way out, exhaling, crunching it in, inhaling, extending it out. Last time, exhaling, crunching it in, inhaling, releasing it out. So option to stay here if you like. You can go for the full bind. So if you're coming with me for the full bind, dipping that front thumb down towards the earth, we're going to take the hand all the way around and back, bending into that back leg, seeing if we can capture the foot. So if you have the back foot and you feel comfortable here, we're going to kick into that hand, really arching through the back, coming into a little back bend here. Really pushing down with the right hand there, coming into that strong foundation. Releasing it out, we're going to take the hand all the way out, extending the back foot all the way back, and releasing it down. So we're just going to come into one wee cat-cow to release that out. Inhaling, taking the gaze straight ahead. Exhaling, arching the back, coming all the way forward. Coming back to neutral spine, we're going to do the same thing that we did on the opposite side. So this time we're going to take the left leg all the way back, extending through the right arm, holding here for a couple of breaths. So really pushing into that left hand, making sure the fingers are spread nice and wide. Taking an inhale. On your next exhale, we're going to bring that right elbow to the left knee, crunching it in, round in the back, inhaling to release, sending it out. Exhaling, crunching it in, rounding through the spine. Exhale, releasing it out. Inhale, crunching it in. Exhale, sending it all the way out. Last time. Inhaling, elbow towards the knee. Exhaling, sending it out. So you can stay here if you like. If you would like to come for the full bind, we're going to do the same on the opposite side. So this time, dipping that right thumb down towards the earth, reaching all the way back, kicking into that back foot, seeing if we can reach around and grab it. So this might be enough for you if you want to take it a little bit further, extending in to that leg, really arching the back, pushing into that front hand, and releasing it out, extending the limbs all the way out, seeing how long you can make yourself. And then replacing the hand, replacing the foot. So from here, taking the knees nice and wide, we're going to send the hips all the way back and the hands all the way forward, bringing the forehead down towards the earth. If you can't reach the floor with your forehead, you can either prop up with your hands, or you can use a blanket or a block, pop it under your forehead, and just have a nice little chill out here in child's pose. So really keeping the hands active, so you want the fingertips spread and pushing into the floor as if you're pushing the hips back towards the heels. So making it a really active child's pose. And with the breath, really lengthening the breath, seeing if you can expand up through the upper back here. And then when you're ready, we're going to take the gaze towards the hands. We're going to walk the hands all the way back, coming into a baby camel. So we're walking the hands all the way back, taking the fingertips behind you, pushing into the fingertips. We're going to arch the back. If you like, you can lift all the way up into baby camel if that feels too intense. Keeping the sit bones down on the heels. But if you're coming up, lifting all the way up, arching the spine, rolling the shoulders back, and releasing down. We're going to walk the hands all the way forward, coming into that child's pose again. We're going to roll through that a couple of times. Walking the hands all the way back, taking the fingertips behind you, taking it as high or as low as you like, lifting up, and releasing down. Walking the fingertips all the way forward. And then we're going to come all the way back, Taking the fingertips back, lifting up, and releasing down. We're going to do that one more time. Walking the fingertips all the way forward, reaching the arms all the way forward and out. Walking the hands all the way back. Pushing into the fingertips, rolling the shoulders back. It's really good if we're stuck at a computer all day, lifting the hips up. You should really feel it in these quad muscles here in the hips. And releasing down. Great job. So from here, coming back into this nice tabletop position. So again, if your knees are feeling it from being on the floor for so long, pop a jumper, a blanket, anything soft, cushions will really help you, especially if you're on like a hard floor without a mat. So fingers spread nice and wide, wrists underneath the shoulders. We're going to take the left foot all the way back, coming into that supported side plank. So flattening down the back foot, extending up with the left arm, either taking the gaze up towards that fingertip or down towards the floor, whichever feels most comfortable for you. So from here we're going to slide the right foot all the way back, coming into full plank if that feels accessible. If not, coming back down into supported plank is totally fine. Taking the gaze up, releasing it down. We're going to come into a plank pose here, so keeping the hips nice and high, wrists underneath the shoulders. We're going to lower halfway down, so option to drop the knees, or you can stay lifted. We're bending the elbows straight back, hugging them in towards the body, lowering halfway down, turning over the feet, inhaling, upward facing dog, turning over the feet, downward facing dog. So just pedaling through the feet a little bit here, keeping it nice and soft, so hips are pointing up towards the sky. If you're feeling really tight in the hamstrings and it's taking you forward like this, bend the knees. I want you to think about having a flat back. So bend and pushing into the ball of the foot there. Try not to have so much weight in the toes. Coming into the ball of the foot, resting the heels down towards the earth. Bending the knees if you've got tight hamstrings. And then we're going to release down to tabletop, so bringing the knees gently, gently back down. Bringing the wrists underneath the shoulders again. We're going to do the same on the opposite side, so this time taking the right foot all the way back, rounding down through that back outer edge of the back foot. Extending up with the right hand. So you have the option to stay here if you want to go for full posture. Sliding the left foot all the way back. You can stack the feet on top of each other, or if that troubles your balance, taking one foot behind just gives you a little bit of extra stability there. And when you're ready, we're going to roll forward, coming into that plank pose again, taking the hips down, taking the hand down, lowering halfway down, tucking the elbows in close to the body, turning over the feet, inhaling, upward facing dog, sending the hips down towards earth. Turning over the feet, downward facing dog. So pedaling through the feet here a little bit. And then when you're ready, we're going to come through to seated. So we're going to step through with one foot, followed by the second foot. And then we're going to come into Baddha Konasana. So you're bringing the soles of the feet together. So this is the upright version of how we started at class today. So you might find it a little bit more challenging because the hips are upright. That's totally fine. So again, if your hips are way up here and it's feeling really strained in your hip muscles, you can either roll up a blanket, giving the knees a little bit of support, popping a block underneath there is also really good. So we're sitting up nice and tall, so we're just seeing what's going on in the hips today. So we're just going to bounce ever so gently. So any movement here should always come from the hips, so avoid doing this sort of thing and pushing down, because that puts a lot of strain on your knees, and this movement won't come from your knees, it will cause you injury. You really want to open up through the inner hip flexors here, the adductor muscles. So just seeing where you're at today. It doesn't matter if they go down towards the floor or if they're a little bit raised, that's totally fine as well. So we're going to stop bouncing gently. So we're going to open up the inside of our feet as if we're reading a really interesting book. So bringing the outer edges of the feet together, and then we're going to open up the toes like this. And then we're just going to have a little look, see what's going on with those toes in there. Sitting up nice and tall. We're going to fold forward, so making sure the spine's nice and tall. Bending the elbows back, reaching the chin all the way forwards. And then relaxing the head down. So try not to do this because it will strain the neck a little bit, and that's not the movement we're going for. We want a nice straight back, so your gaze point will probably be a little bit in front of your feet. Really remembering to ground down through those back sit bones. Want it to be nice and grounded and stable here. The more you ground down, you'll often find the more you can reach up and lengthen. So just keeping it nice and relaxed. I'm going to release it all the way back up to seated. Taking the hands on the outer edge of those thighs, we're going to help the knees all the way up to standing, and then we're just going to window wipe them, so taking the knees towards the left and then towards the right, and a couple more times either side, towards the left and towards the right. So from here we're going to come to lying down on our back, so bringing the knees to standing like we did at the start. So knees pointing towards the ceiling, feet to standing. So from here we're going to come into a little bridge posture. So you want to make sure that your feet are nice and close to your sit bones. Not too close because it might impede you trying to get up. But making sure that you can maybe give them a little tickle, those heels, a little tickle with the fingertips. And having them a little bit wider than hip width is a good way to kind of make it a little bit easier in the body. So before we go anywhere, I just want you to tilt your pelvis. So this part of the back that naturally arches, I want you to think about pressing that down into the earth. So lifting up through the pelvis here. Just a tiny movement, arching the back, tilting the pelvis down, flattening all parts of the back on the floor, tilting the pelvis. And this time when you flatten each part of the spine on the floor, taking the arms nice and long beside you. Again, I'm talking these hands, keeping them spread. I've been going on about it all class. Keeping the fingertips nice and spread, pushing into the fingertips, pushing into the arms because we're going to lift up. So pushing the back, all parts of the back into the floor, peeling the spine up ever so gently, making sure that your knees don't flop out to the side. Coming into our nice easy bridge. So making sure that your feet aren't up to any tricks, they aren't moving about. In this pose, particularly with back bends such as these, you want everything to be nice and stable. So really in this posture, you've got your feet are your foundation, your full arms, your palms of your hands, the back of your head, the shoulders. There's a lot going on in this posture in terms of it being grounding. So using all parts of the body to lift the hips up a little bit further, just as far as feels comfortable. Remembering wherever you are to breathe deeply. Holding for another breath, you guys are doing really well. And releasing it down towards the mat, lowering down gently. Taking it one vertebrae at a time until you're back on the mat. So giving your knees a little hug in towards the chest. Again, we're going to extend the left leg all the way down, hugging in with the right knee. So from here we're going to cross the right knee over the left body, so you're going to extend the right arm all the way out. So if you've got room, you're going wide arms at shoulder height. If you're not got much room, you're going this sort of position, kind of cactus arms. So hugging the knee in, taking it all the way across the left side of the body. Taking the gaze over the right shoulder there. So I don't want you to think about pushing the knee towards the floor. I want you to think about grounding down through the shoulder, through both shoulders. Often when we're in this sort of twist, we can find that the right side of the body will lift up because then we're like, oh, I can get this knee on the floor. But really what's happening here is you're losing a lot of the twist. So really grounding down through the shoulders there. Just letting the knee rest wherever it likes. I like to take the left hand on the outer edge of that thigh there, just for a little bit of extra stability in the knee. Hugging the right knee in towards the chest. We're going to send it down to meet the left, and we're going to switch sides, so doing the same thing on the opposite side. So hugging in the right knee, squeezing it in, and then we're going to take the right hand on the outer edge of that left thigh there, taking it across the right side of the body, extending the left arm all the way out shoulder height. So really grounding down through the palm of the hand or the back of the forearm if you're in cactus arms. Really thinking about keeping those shoulders nice and flat on the ground. And breathing deeply. Again, thinking about all the points of contact that your body has with the floor right now. Pushing into the floor. Taking the gaze over those left shoulders. And when you're ready, we're going to hug that left knee all the way in. And then we're going to send it down to meet the right. So coming into Shavasana, so you've done really well. We're going to come into relaxation now. Taking the feet as wide as your mat, letting the feet sort of flop out towards the sides, letting the palms of the hands rest upwards. So if you've got any lower back issues and this feels like it's straining the lower back, what you can do is you can roll a little blanket under the backs of the knees there. Just gives you a little bit extra support and helps make it a bit gentler. If that's still not doing it for you, you can bring the knees to standing, or you can bring the soles of the feet together like we did at the start of class. Otherwise, if you're happy just lying on the floor and just chillaxing, then I invite you to do so. So while we're here, we're going to inhale through the nose, extending the breath all the way up through the torso, and then we're just going to sigh it out through the mouth. Inhaling all the way up, taking a really deep breath here, inhaling, and then we're sighing it out through the mouth, releasing any tension, just sinking into the floor. Last time, inhaling, extending all the way up, sighing it out through the mouth, just releasing here. Breathing deeply. Having a little bit of gratitude for your body and your mind, and also for taking the time to take out of your day, taking some time out of your day for yourself. Do something that's good for you and good for your body and your mind. We're going to start to bring a little bit of life back into the body. If you want, you can stay here for as long as you like, but if you've got some stuff you want to get on with your day, then we're going to start to wriggle the fingers and the toes. Maybe creating little wrist and ankle circles. Flexing and pointing the toes. We're going to extend all the way up. Bringing the feet together, extending the body, making it really long and stringy on the floor, seeing how long you can make yourself. And then we're going to bend the knees, hugging the knees in, doing the opposite motion here, seeing how small you can make yourself. Taking a breath here, and then gently rolling onto your side, so you're taking the hands onto the floor, rolling onto whatever side is available to you. Taking a breath here, so this is the fetus position, this is the rebirth after the end of your practice, so bringing that nice energy on to the rest of your day. Pushing into that top hand, we're going to come all the way up to an easy seated position. So if you want to come cross-legged, that's fine. If you want to spread the legs out, that's totally fine as well. So just resting the knees, the hands on the knees if that's accessible for you. And then we're going to take the arms all the way up, extending them nice and wide, taking them all the way up above the head, looking up towards those thumbs there. Bringing them down between the eyebrow centre, seat of wisdom, the heart centre, seat of love, and bowing it down towards the earth. which gives us sustenance and life and beauty. Then walking all the way back up to seated. So thank you guys so much for joining me for class today. I hope you enjoyed it.